Welcome back, Focus Learners. I am so thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. Now, if you've spent any time at all looking into fertility, you have absolutely heard the phrase blood flow. It gets thrown around all the time, right? But today, we're going to look at the literal physiology behind that buzzword. We're going to decode the complex neurovascular mechanisms of ovarian perfusion, and specifically how acupuncture impacts it. So let's just dive right in and see how your body's vascular biology plays a massive role in egg quality and overall reproductive health.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be covering the blood flow connection, uterine artery impedance, neurovascular mechanisms, reversing oxidative stress, the chain of events, and finally, what this means.
Section 1. The blood flow connection. These are your reproductive lifelines. Section 2. Uterine artery impedance. This is all about measuring resistance. Okay, so to really understand blood flow, we first have to know how doctors actually measure it. They use a non-invasive test called a Doppler ultrasound to check what's called impedance, or resistance. In simple terms, they're looking at how much friction the blood encounters as it flows through the uterine arteries. Think of your blood vessels like a garden hose. If you pinch a hose, you create high resistance. The water flow is totally restricted and only a tiny trickle gets out. And let's face it, nobody is keeping a beautiful garden alive with just a trickle. In your body, that high impedance means less blood, less oxygen, and way fewer nutrients are reaching your ovaries and uterus. It is directly associated with thinner endometrial linings and lower implantation rates. But unpinch that hose and you get low resistance. The blood just flows freely, delivering a rich, heavy supply of nutrients right where they are needed most. Section 3. Neurovascular mechanisms. Unlocking that circulation. So the big question, how do we actually change that resistance? How do we physically unpinch the hose? Well, it essentially comes down to this one specific molecule, nitric oxide. It's a small gas molecule produced naturally by the cells lining our blood vessels, the vascular endothelium. And despite being so incredibly small, it is literally one of the most important signaling molecules in your entire cardiovascular system. When your body releases nitric oxide, it acts like a chemical key. It relaxes the smooth muscle in your artery walls, causing the vessels to widen, which is a process called vasodilation. Wider vessels mean less resistance. It's your body's primary biological tool to unlock restricted reproductive circulation. And this builds directly into the incredible dual pathway of acupuncture. A growing body of research shows that stimulating specific points on the body triggers the release of nitric oxide and other relaxing proteins, like CGRP, right from your vascular endothelium. But actually, that's just pathway 1. Pathway 2 involves your autonomic nervous system. Acupuncture actually reduces the activity of your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight-or-flight mode that actively constricts blood vessels. By turning down that stress response, acupuncture supports a much calmer, restorative parasympathetic state. So you get this incredibly powerful combination. You're directly releasing a gas that opens blood vessels while simultaneously turning off the nervous system signal that pinches them shut in the first place.
Section 4. Reversing oxidative stress. Protecting the egg.
Now, why is all this improved ovarian perfusion so absolutely critical? It all comes down to reversing oxidative stress. You see, eggs do not mature in a vacuum. Each developing follicle relies entirely on its blood supply. When blood flow is restricted, you get a toxic buildup of oxidative stress inside the follicle. It's a state where damaging molecules called free radicals accumulate much faster than the body can neutralize them. And this is terrible news for an egg. Oxidative stress actively interferes with the delicate cellular machinery needed for egg maturation, specifically the mitochondria. Those are supposed to supply the critical energy an egg needs to normally divide after fertilization. Basically, poor blood flow literally strips the egg of its energy. But here is the amazing biological reversal. Because acupuncture improves ovarian perfusion. By widening those vessels, it acts like a rescue mission for the follicle. It delivers a massive rush of vital oxygen and powerful antioxidants directly to the follicular environment. This fresh, heavy blood flow physically flushes out the metabolic waste and neutralizes those damaging free radicals. By reversing oxidative stress, you are actively protecting the delicate cellular machinery of the egg. You're giving it the well-nourished, high-energy environment it desperately needs to mature.
Section 5. The chain of events. The biological cascade.
Let's connect all this complex science we just talked about into a highly linear, easy-to-follow biological cascade. Step 1. Acupuncture treatment stimulates the release of nitric oxide and lowers that constricting sympathetic nerve tone. Step 2. Because of that, the blood vessels physically relax and widen. Step 3, this means uterine artery impedance, that friction, completely decreases. Blood moves freely. Step 4, thanks to that free-flowing blood, the ovaries and follicles receive a massive boost of oxygen and antioxidants, reversing oxidative stress. And finally, Step 5, this optimal, nutrient-rich environment leads directly to better egg maturation and a thicker, more receptive uterine lining. It is a direct physiological chain from needle stimulation to a healthier reproductive environment.
And I really want to make it very clear that this isn't just theory. Multiple published, peer-reviewed studies confirm these measurable circulatory improvements. For instance, a randomized controlled trial in fertility and sterility showed acupuncture actively reduced uterine artery impedance. Earlier research examining acupuncture over a series of weekly sessions reported the exact same significant reductions in resistance. Furthermore, studies in the Journal of Endocrinological Investigation have linked acupuncture treatment during IVF cycles directly to improvements in retrieved egg quality. Scientists have literally measured the local release of these vasodilating compounds. The evidence consistently points to these physiological breakthroughs being very real.
Section 6. What this means. Bringing it back to your fertility journey. Let's deliberately pause all the complex science for a moment and anchor this back to what really matters, your own personal journey. If you've been told that a thin lining, diminished ovarian reserve, or poor response to meds is limiting your options, addressing your circulation is absolutely paramount. As the Berkeley Center notes, improving blood flow isn't a replacement for medical treatment, but it is, quote, a well-studied, evidence-informed complement, one that works with your body's own vascular biology rather than around it. It sets the absolute best possible physiological groundwork for your body to do what it's naturally trying to do.
Individualized care is really about focusing on this exact neurovascular physiology. At the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness, every single treatment plan is built on this groundwork. It's about optimizing circulation, reducing inflammation, and creating the healthiest possible environment for egg development, whether you are trying to conceive naturally or moving through an IVF cycle. You can absolutely visit berkeleycenter.com to learn more about how a personalized plan can support your specific goals. I want to leave you with this one provocative thought today. We have seen how clearing away oxidative stress and unlocking blood flow can literally rescue the cellular machinery of an egg. So I ask you, if optimizing your body's vascular biology can transform a single follicle, how might it change your entire fertility journey? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll see you next time.